Good night, world.
Thomas.
Oh, who's that?
It is I, your conscience.
So wait, would that make you the mind of Thomas?
Good question for another time. In your last video, you made a promise, remember?
And who knows, maybe next time I'll look at some other Wii games from my childhood. Let's see.
Ooh, this one looks pretty good.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'll be sure to get to that tomorrow.
But today's your normal upload day. You should have gotten it done by now.
Right now, it's already past my bedtime.
Come on, would you ever waste your time sleeping, or waste your time playing New Super Mario Bros. Wii?
Fair point.
Man, remember when we first got this game?
I sure do.
It all started on Christmas Day 2009 when I got my Wii primarily to play Toy Story Mania, a minigame collection based on a Disney ride, but that's a whole nother story. However, through the Wii, I started to get introduced to the larger world of Nintendo's various properties, the biggest one being, of course, Mario. When I got my Wii, I was given a copy of Mario Kart Wii, and my parents made sure to download the Virtual Console release of the original Super Mario Bros. These two games got me hooked, and I started to become obsessed with the Mario franchise. Shortly after doing some research, I came across a Mario game I didn't have yet on the Wii called New Super Mario Bros. Wii. It looked awesome, and I knew I just had to have it. I remember constantly begging my parents for this game for the longest time, although looking back, it was probably only about a month or two between me discovering the game and me getting the game, because my wish finally came true on Valentine's Day 2010. I had been picked up from preschool early that day due to it snowing, and we went to my grandmother's house to spend Valentine's Day with her. When I got there, she handed me and my sister our Valentine's Day gift from her to us, and mine was none other than a brand new copy of New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I was pumped, and as soon as I got home, I popped the disc in my Wii and began experiencing the greatness that was this game. The problem was, I wasn't extremely good at it, so I would usually play it whenever I visited my uncle who could help me through the game. Through that, I managed to eventually get better at Mario games and became a true fan of the franchise. Well, I guess that leaves only one thing left to do.
Yep, it's time to play it and see how New Super Mario Bros. Wii still holds up today.
New Super Mario Brothers. Whee!
To fully understand my current thoughts on this game, I think it's best we start by taking a look back at its development. New Super Mario Bros. Wii started production after the resounding success of New Super Mario Bros. On the DS, released in 2006. This was the first original 2D Mario game since Super Mario Land 2, 6 Golden Coins, on the original Game Boy, and proved there was still an audience for the good old days of the simple run-and-jump 2D Mario platformers, comprised of both new players who had never played a 2D Mario before, and old players who wanted a rush of nostalgia. So it only made sense to make a follow-up game for their extremely successful home console, the Wii. One main goal Shigeru Miyamoto had with the game was to finally introduce simultaneous multiplayer to the Mario series, an idea he had been toying with in seemingly every Mario game before this, but could never get working as he had hoped due to hardware limitations. With the Wii's increased strength and focus on family play, he could finally get it done. The game was revealed to the public at E3 2009 and released later that year on November 11th. Now on to the game itself. New Super Mario Bros. Wii is a very play-it-safe Mario title. Most of its ideas are simply refined takes on things introduced in games before it. Uses the generic get through 8 worlds, fight Bowser and the Koopalings, and save Peach plotline. The levels are stupidly easy for a good chunk of the game, only getting harder a bit later. You'd think being the first 2D Mario on a home console in over a decade, they would have innovated a bit more, but nope. This game is basically just the Super Mario Bros. 3/Super Mario World formula in 2.5D. It also doesn't help that all the other new Super games before and after this one are barely any different. Despite not having played this specific title in a good while, I feel like I just played it yesterday because of how similar it is compared to, say, New Super Mario Bros. U. I don't want to sound too harsh, but playing this now feels like I might as well be playing baby's first Mario game.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
Well, think about how old you were when you first played this game. You were 5. Sure, this may seem boring to you now compared to the likes of Super Mario Galaxy or Super Mario Odyssey, but back then, this was the perfect entry point for you as a new fan to the Mario franchise.
My conscience is right. I'm playing this with the mindset of a seasoned Mario veteran, when in reality, this game was made for people new to the Mario franchise, or those who hadn't played a Mario game in a long time. In that sense, it's no wonder why games like this are so generic compared to games made for the more hardcore players. It's ultimately the simple side-scrolling Marios like this that defined the world of the franchise, and this did that for a whole generation of kids, including me. So with my main problem regarding the game solved and explained, it's time to go over some of the positives I like about this game. For starters, this game controls like butter and defines what a 2D Mario moveset can and should be, so well that they didn't even bother to change it in the next games. You can triple jump, wall jump, perform crazy spins, it all feels great. I will say though, it feels weird controlling the spin by shaking the Wii remote, after just simply hitting ZR to do it on Wii U and the Switch. The Propeller Mushroom, while mechanically inferior to the Raccoon Suit and Super Cape, is good in its own right and one of the most fun power-ups ever to use. The Ice Flower acts as a great counterpart to the Fire Flower, allowing you to freeze enemies, making you more strategic with how you use it. Despite these positives, however, the game does have some unforgivable sins. As I mentioned earlier, this game finally realized Miyamoto's simultaneous multiplayer Mario dream, and it does not work well at all. Everybody is constantly jumping all over each other and getting thrown off the screen, leading to many accidental deaths and game overs, and it only gets worse the more players you have. The worst part is it affects the rest of the game, even in single player mode, as the levels were designed to be a bit easier to accommodate 4 players, with the camera being stretched out further than in the past as well. The 2 extra playable characters are also really boring and uninspired, even by this game's standards, as I pick 2 generic toads called Yellow Toad and Blue Toad. This bothers me greatly because they could have easily chosen existing, more interesting characters, such as Wario and Waluigi. So overall, New Super Mario Bros. Wii is a solid but safe Mario game that's a great entry point for new players, but is bogged down by its multiplayer component and lack of imagination at times. Except for the new power-ups. Those are pretty good.
Well, that about wraps up my thoughts on New Super Mario Bros. Wii. While I still appreciate it for helping me get into the larger Mario franchise, I've just graduated to bigger and bolder titles in the series, like Sunshine 64, 3D World, Mario Maker, Odyssey, and such. And then, of course, your favorite game of all time. Oh yeah, to be continued.